Hi, Peter. Thank you. It was such a pleasure to meet you. I cannot get I cannot get over how nice your laugh sounds. So, my name is Deborah Udoh, but everyone just calls me Debs. I am a registered nurse in Nigeria. And usually, this is the part where I would say, in a matter of weeks, I will also be a registered midwife. But the results came out today, and I am officially a registered midwife as well. So, thank you. And you're the first one to hear it. So, you should count yourself very lucky. Yeah, I have. It's a really exciting one for me. So, I'm a registered nurse and registered midwife from Nigeria. And in a matter of weeks, I'll also be a registered public health nurse as well. And I am indeed. So, I am a software engineer, specifically a research software engineer for an organization called OLS, which is a not for profit organization. And what we do is teach people, empower them to become ambassadors of open science in their sphere. I do. Yeah. So it's quite a straightforward journey for me, healthcare, quite unlike my tech journey. It actually began with my passion for caregiving. I've always known right from an early age that I love to take care of other people. I run the risk of taking more care of others than myself. But in a bid to try and make a career out of that passion, I thought the next logical thing would be, of course, study medicine in school because those are the people who take care of others, right? So I wanted to be a doctor. Yeah, but then I tried for medical school. Luckily, should I say, I can only say luckily now in hindsight, I didn't get into medical school because, yeah, I figured much later down the line that medicine didn't give me the amount of nurse patient interaction that I've always wanted. Yes, so I went into nursing in early 2018. I put in an application to study nursing. Luckily, I was selected and I got into this field, which really, really served my need to want to care for other people perfectly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a bit of the background about my nursing career. It's a 5 year undergraduate bachelor's degree. But during your fourth year, you get a chance to try for the registered nurse license, which is why I got my license to be a registered nurse last year. And then in your fifth year, the focus would be to, of course, finish your education and get the bachelor's degree. But you also get the chance to sit for the midwifery licensing exam and the public health licensing exam. So it's really a full time job, like you mentioned. But in 2023, there was a university strike that left us at home for roughly 8 months. And during this strike, it, that was when my sister saw how much of a sad puppy her sister was becoming, just sitting at home all day on Duolingo learning Spanish. So she said, "Hey, you can use my laptop to learn whatever skill you want to learn. And here's a list of things that are really trending in the market right now. Whatever you want to learn, I'm going to fund it." But I thought, the money for funding that would go to something that would benefit the entire family. So keep your money aside. I'm going to learn this on my own. And that's how I started learning on YouTube. I learned on Free Code Camp and other free resources I had at the time. And really, that's how I started out the journey, and gradually gaining confidence in my skill set, trying to find out what other people in different parts of the world know. So I did open source collaboration for a while, learning to work within a team, learning to give feedback on pull requests, learning to receive feedback. That was really an enriching experience for me, and all of that built up to me finally doing the outreachy internship. Peter, I'm not sure whether you know about the outreachy internship. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And that was the first time I met Sarah, actually. I met her online. Yeah. So I did contribute a bit to the Jupiter Hub project at the time, and Sarah was the community manager slash pull request reviewer slash awesome bean. Yeah, that's a really good question. So, software engineering is quite a different field. These two things are like world apart. Trying to bring them together is currently my full time job. So, on one hand, you have working with real patients, with feelings, with emotions, problems, with their families, and all the different shades of struggles that that comes with. And then there's this other part of getting your computer to do what you tell it at the right time in the right order. So it's quite different, really. True. That's really true. So on my healthcare front, most of the skills that I put to use every day, for one, communication. And this is beyond just talking to people, assessing, eliciting what their problems might be. This is also listening for the things that they don't tell you, they won't tell you, or they can't tell you. So if you don't have a listening ear, nothing doesn't work so well. And you need a lot of physical strength. My goodness, I was just talking with my boss how much heavy lifting literally we have to do as nurses. So you need to be physically agile to do that work. And one of the biggest challenges as a nurse would be finding that balance between empathy and then maintaining a safe distance boundary wise for the sake of your own mental health, because there would be cases where you get so attached to your client that most of their hurts begin to traumatize you as well, so you get secondhand PTSD, if you understand what I mean. So those are the skills on the nursing side of things. Yeah. Yeah. So beginning with software engineering was a bit hard. Like I mentioned, I never had a personal computer on my own, and you'd be crazy to think that someone could start a software engineering career rather without a computer of their own. So you could be learning, and someone has to do something on the computer that they've just lent to you. That interruption while you're so close to figuring out where the bug is can be really frustrating. So, for a bit of a personal aspect, is that I come from a really lowly family, and that's a very nice way of saying that we don't have much financially. So even beginning this career was quite challenging. I know how much time it took to finally save up for a personal computer of my own. And Nigeria is largely patriarchal. So frustrating. And during the outreach internship periods, I was in a meeting with some designers and fellow developers, and someone just spoke out and asked, why are you even here? You're a woman. You should be focusing on raising and starting a family. If this your software engineering fantasy ever takes off, how do you intend on taking care of a family? And I'm like, you haven't even asked whether this person wants a family, and who says that it has to be one or the other, right? There are so many successful people who have managed both, but I don't blame them. It's the mentality that's deeply rooted in our culture. And eh, so, sure. So, one of the major challenges that we face in this part of the world is internet access. So I was very surprised to find out that it costs more here to have internet access than it does in the UK. I was very surprised to hear that, considering the fact that we earn relatively less than what people in these regions do, and we still have to pay more. If we just paid more for the internet connection and we had working internet, that would be, I mean, what paying for, right? But you have internet connection that kicks you out of every single meeting. Imagine being a new developer who is trying to wow an interviewer, and every 2 seconds you're getting disconnected from the call. So this is our reality, really. Yeah. It's quite random, but we do know that it's worse when it rains. I was trying to join, and it's so annoying because personally I am a pluviophile. That's someone who loves when it rains. But then when it rains, I I have to sacrifice my internet connection. So when it rains, it's really bad. During the day, it gets bad, but say from midnight down to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., it's better compared to the other hours of the day. But then there are moments where even at 2 a.m., it's really bad. So, yeah, don't jinx it. Yeah. It's something that I'm actively still working towards, striking that balance. I don't have it all figured out. I would be a big liar to say that I have that figured out. But what I can say for sure is that it's much better than how it was in the beginning, having to balance things out. One of the downsides of being a nurse and an RSC is that most of my time gets split between these two professions. You're doing a 5 year bachelor's degree that has all these other elements within it, and there's having a full time job as well. It leaves little room for other activities, yeah, but hopefully when I graduate in another month or two, I will have more time to go out, smell the roses. Yeah. Exciting. Yeah. Yeah. So when I did the outreach internship, we had a clause, and when I say we, I mean students who were applying for the outreach internship. There was a clause that you had to be free from school for a required amount of time, 3 to 6 months. We were on strike, so we were allowed to start the initial process. But when the strikes got called off, every single person who registered as a student on strike was immediately disqualified. This was really heart wrenching for a lot of people because they were hoping to make a big difference through this one opportunity. So it feels like a lifeline got cut off. But if you know anything about Nigerians, we have an unspeakable ability to bounce back when things hit us hard. Yeah. So right. Although this initial part of the application was not successful because we got disqualified, I kept in touch with OLS, and just a few months later, they needed a junior web developer to support some of the work that they were doing as an organization. And guess what? One day, my current boss, Johanna Yehudi, she reached out and said, "Oh, come over to the OLS Slack, a new designated Slack workspace that Berenice has some exciting news for you." So, Berenice is our director of technology at OLS. Me and Bernice will set up a meeting on a Monday. I'll never forget. It was a Monday at around 5 p.m. Bernice was on this video call and she said, "Hey Debs, we're actually working on XYZ for the website. We were wondering if you would be willing to join our team to develop this." And I thought, wait, are you asking me whether I want to get paid for doing the best job in the world? Where do I sign, please? Yeah. So Outreachy is the body that fronts the internship. They outsource organizations or companies who want interns, get them to be in the program. So, as a potential outreach intern, you see a list of organizations who are present there. You see what skills that they require, which ones are the nice to have skills. So, you select based on the ones that align with your interests, the ones that fit your skill set, which is something really helpful outreach does. So, I saw that OLS needed Jekyll, they needed bit of HTML, CSS, front end development stuff. And I thought, oh, this is perfect since I was just starting out. This is something that I'm familiar with. And luckily, Jekyll was used on one of the other open source projects that I contributed to. So I was like, wait, Jekyll is useful. This should help. And that was how I decided to pick OLS as my project to contribute to alongside Jupyter Hub, because Jupyter was doing a revamp of their documentation, and that was something that I had strong interest in. And they were trying to get accessibility working better in their website. So accessibility documentation on Jupyter, very interesting to me. OLS wanted to do a redesign of their website, also very interesting. So that's how I picked the organization. It turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. Sorry, where did you lose me? Yeah, so the outreach internships are still running, but when OLS offered me the role, they didn't offer me the role based on the outreach internship. This was something that they did independent of outreach. They had selected one outreach intern who wasn't affected by the strike, and later on they found me and gave me a chance. But outreach is very much open for anyone else who wants to apply. So yeah, I got into the carpentry's software software carpentry's training because, well, backstory, my boss saw the opportunity and thought that it would be suited for me. Peter, can you still hear me? Just checking. Okay. So that was me trying to lay foundation to explain why I got into the training within Richard's software. So my boss saw the carpentry's opportunity posted on our Slack. It was an invitation for people who wanted to be trainers. And I had seen this ad, but I thought within myself, the carpentries is really broad, and they have software, they have library carpentries. I thought I don't have knowledge of all these many different things. But while I was still processing that thought, I saw a message from Yo, my boss, saying I saw an eye emoji. So I put a reaction on the Slack message with two eyes. And she said, "Hey, I saw your eyes on that post. Does this look like something you might be interested in?" And she said, I said, "Yeah, of course it's training. I love to teach." But I came clean with her and told her I'm not sure I'm fully qualified for this role. So she said, "All you really need is Linux, Python, and GitHub, all of which you currently use. So hey, give it a shot." Turns out that was another big opportunity I would have regretted passing up on, because what the carpentries does is actually very aligned to what I love to do. I tell people if I wasn't a nurse, I would definitely be a teacher. So that's a good opportunity to explore both passions at the same time. So for the research training that I mentioned during my talk, the major passion behind it. Yes, you go. Oh, I thought that you were going to say something. Yeah, that's okay. blame my network for whatever lag we're experiencing. So the major passion is that I identified such a huge gap of diversity within the RSC space. And I knew that for a really long time, personally, I didn't even know that research software engineering existed as a field of its own. Young, yes, quite nascent, but a lot of people in the region where I exist, they don't know about this field. And when I sit down to see how research is taught and to, I cannot even put to words how badly we're taught research here in school. And I thought, with this amount of deficient knowledge, how would we ever meet up in the real world? And I had to do something about it. And this Research 101 was born out of the need to bring more people into a space where they are aware, where they are equipped with skills, the knowledge that they need to even decide whether they want to pursue academia or research software engineering as a career path. So that when people decide whether or not to do it, it wouldn't be that it's research or a lack of knowledge of research basically that's holding them back. So it's a way to put power back in their hands. And thinking about it, that was when I realized that it actually does overlap quite well with the current RSE community, because I spoke to a lot of RSEs who didn't even come from research oriented backgrounds. They didn't have academic backgrounds. So when they come in to do this whole building of software, most times they feel lost because they don't even understand the technical terms that are being used. They don't really know. And this course actually kills one bird with two stones. We don't like to kill birds. That's not a very good analogy, but still, you get the point. Yes. Yes, indeed. And I'm really excited and looking forward to sharing all the progress that we've made in recent times with the course. That we're still working on finalizing, but I feel very positive about it. Yes. Maybe making them listen is where you have the challenge, but I do feel like you have a very warm and welcoming personality, and usually that's what young people want. So maybe don't run out of the class next time. But yeah, my experience with teaching started quite early. Straight out of high school, I had to take a gap year before trying for university because my sister had just gotten into college, and it would be too much of a strain on the family's finances if we had more than one person in the family get into school at the same time. So I decided to take a year before trying to get into school. During that gap year, I found a job teaching grade 4, which is what we would call primary 4 here. And the system at the time required any class or form teacher to teach all of the courses. So this is me straight out of high school, surrounded by young people who are very energetic and willing to learn. And I had to teach them everything: math, English, creative writing, drawing. What do I even know about drawing, right? But it meant that I had to do so much research on trying to understand all the courses. And then the second part would be breaking them out, simplifying them to the extent that these youngsters would be able to understand the concept that I'm trying to teach. It helped that I was young as well, so somehow they saw themselves in me. So it really helped us to form that bond, and it worked out pretty well. As soon as I figured out how best they learned, what time of the day worked, how long I could sustain their attention before they wanted to go out to pee or to eat or to do something else. So that background teaching very young people really equipped me for teaching different levels or different groups of individuals down in the future. So I'm really thankful that I got that job early on. Thanks, Peter. That's a very deep question, and I've had so much time to both think about it and panic think about it. It's how you wait 6 or 7 years to graduate from school, and you're finally at the end, and you're wondering, oh my God, soon there won't be school anymore. What's going to come next? So that has been my line of thought. Luckily, I've had so much time to think about it. Right after school, like I mentioned, I would want to do a master's degree in mental health. I am so thankful to have this role with ONS where I can at least put aside some resources to save up for my master's. But at the pace that I'm going, it probably won't happen as soon as I want it to happen. So I'm actually actively searching out scholarship opportunities or anyone who could offer studentship, whether it's a master's degree or a PhD. I'm quite willing to toe that route. And then for the software side of things, I'm going to be devoting more of my time now to upskilling because I always feel like there's this gap between me, who is self taught, and people who have had to sit through a 4 year course in computer science and probably even a PhD in computer science. So I plan to work really hard next year to learn as much as I can about the basics of computer science, while also, on the other hand, the third thing I will be focusing on is sourcing funds to run the Research 101 course. I I cannot wait to tell you the magic that has been happening behind the scenes, especially after RSE gone. That's still very much in the pipeline. Yeah. True. True. You know what they say, you can pour from an empty cup, right? So you fill yourself up first. That's one thing that we nurses are really good at doing, giving advice that we often don't take. You can see me drinking a bottle of soda already. Same. Yeah. Thank you for speaking with me. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Peter. Always a pleasure to chat with you.